This is Erin, and I invite you to come take a tour of our move-in ready villa. Click the Liberty Village icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Simply the finest.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
News time is 8 minutes after 8 o'clock on this Thursday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast streaming to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. As the holiday season rolls on, those packages of Christmas gifts will be flooding onto porches across the community, and as they do, Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers is offering a message of caution thanks to an increase in petty crimes. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Chief Lowers told Regional Radio, oftentimes those packages are an advertisement that something valuable is about to go into that home.
I find myself making this statement more frequently than I would like. I grew up in Clinton, and there was a time, not only in Clinton, but in our society in general, that in a town our size, you shouldn't have to lock your doors. You shouldn't have to lock your car doors. But that's not the world we live in anymore. Not to get sidetracked on a soapbox, but we're already feeling some effect. We have certainly experienced some effect of the no cash bail. I talked several months ago about the fact of the matter is we have more criminals on the street now than we've ever had because of no cash bail. And so, when we catch someone in a petty theft, quite frankly, we're processing them, we're issuing them notice to appear in court, and they're back out on the street within a matter of hours. That doesn't mean that they've learned their lesson and then that they're not going to commit another theft tomorrow. We just have to be extremely vigilant about our own security, to our homes, to our vehicles, things of that nature.
Chief Lowers believes with the busy lives we live, it can be difficult to promptly get those packages off our porches before there's the opportunity to have them swiped. He says, like preying on an unlocked vehicle, oftentimes porch pirates take advantage of the opportunity.
And, being a good neighbor, we live in a busy society but we live in a busy society where our kids are in school, both of the parents work, our homes are empty during the day. When we get home in the evening, we want to eat supper, we want to have that small bit of family time that we can have, and we go to bed, we don't socialize with our neighbors, and we don't get to know our neighbors. And I'll tell you, Seth, to a degree, I have been guilty of that as well, not as neighborly as I would like to be, but that just really molds our community into a safe place. And so, like I said, as we apply that to Christmas shopping and things of that nature, Christmas shopping, Christmas security, so much stuff is being delivered through the mail, through the different shipping resources that we have now. There's just a tremendous amount sitting out there available for the taking if we're not taking the responsibility to make sure that it's secure. That's about that, just again, being vigilant, being cognizant of package delivery, of things that we're advertising, and again, of locking those not only home doors, garage doors, storage shed doors, but our vehicles. I don't know how many times we've talked about car burglary is one of our most common crimes, and very, very seldom is it ever to a locked vehicle. I consider them crimes of opportunity, and we've just got to do our part to prevent them to the best of our ability.
As those packages get wrapped, unwrapped, and then discarded, Chief Lowers encourages making sure boxes are broken down enough there isn't a big advertisement in your trash receptacles during the holidays.
I know from working day shift patrol for many, many years and on the weekends and stuff, I could drive around and I just kind of was amused by what you can learn about people when you're just vigilant and looking out. I could drive around on trash pickup day after Christmas, and you can literally drive down the block and see what everybody got for Christmas, and so while I find that as an oddly interesting thing to do, you're also advertising that to potential would-be thieves, and so be extra careful in that regard. Secure your things, as simple as folding those boxes up and putting them in a trash bag to where they're not so noticeable and things like that, especially when we're dealing with kids and those electronics and things like that, Well, while we talk about that, a vast majority of thefts and burglaries that occur in residential areas occur by someone that is known to you, whether it's unfortunately a family member, a friend, or an acquaintance. There are those random burglaries. Don't get me wrong, there are those, but those are actually the minority. And so you've just got to be extra cautious as to who you're sharing information with and who you're allowing access to those things.
Next week on Regional Radio, as we get closer to having to hit the road for the holidays, the chief will remind listeners and readers of the Home Watch program through the Clinton Police Department, as well as with some safety travel reminders. The cold and flu bugs are already flying, and a national nutrition expert has some tips to help us reduce their impacts or hold those bugs off altogether this winter. Dr. Jim Lavelle is the author of Cracking the Metabolic Code and is the Integrative Medicine Program Director for the NFL Hall of Fame Health and Performance Program. He notes one of the most important things we can do is get plenty of sleep during the winter.
Oh, without a doubt. I think cold and flu season's hit hard, and a lot of people with that lingering cough for 2-3 weeks after they get the bug. And so, there's several things, and we always say these things, and I know it's I just got to cover the bases. And the bases are make sure you're washing your hands. Like, good hygiene is incredibly important, and I recommend during cold and flu season that people can get like the nasal washes that they can buy at the local pharmacies, where they wash out their sinuses at the end of each day as well. Because that's how you end up catching these things, is that, your sinuses, breathe in these aerosolized flu bugs, right? And so, good hygiene. So washing hands, think about doing a nasal wash. You got to try to eat cleaner. People need to understand we're going into holiday season. If you're eating a lot of sweets lower your immune response. And then if a lot of people also end up, they're traveling, it's hectic, they're shopping, it's late nights, they're not getting sleep. When you sleep 5 hours a night versus 7 to 9 hours a night, you're 9 times more likely to get a cold or flu. So getting rest.
Eating clean and avoiding sugar is something that can be pivotal in avoiding the bugs of the winter. Dr. Lavelle reminds sugar weakens your immune system, and having nutritious foods, especially vegetables, are immune system boosters.
Trying to stay clear on the diet, getting good hydration. You got to get that in, okay? That's baseline. And then you start getting into, what nutrients are important? And I encourage people, they should be taking a baseline. And we all learned this from the pandemic. Get a baseline of zinc in, 15, maybe 30 milligrams of zinc a day. Zinc really helps you to make thymus cells. That your thymic gland makes T killer cells, which end up going out and attacking these bugs, right? Having a good probiotic, actually, they're finding out that having good flora actually stimulates your immune system and helps you to fight off bugs, which a lot of people don't realize that. So the beneficial flora thing is a big deal. And then you always got to think about having enough vitamin C, because people always ask, is vitamin C the cure for a common cold or flu? It's like, no, it doesn't cure it. What it does is it provides the nutrient you need for your immune cells to fight off a bug. You use up 5-6 times more vitamin C when you're fighting something off than when you're at baseline and doing okay.
Dr. Lavelle recommends several natural supplements to help reduce coughs and promote flu recovery and even ward off those bugs altogether.
And then you could get into some really specific things. One of my favorite remedies is English ivy. You can actually get English ivy cough syrup. So if you're struggling with the cough, English ivy's been used over in Europe for a lot of years, becoming popular here now. And English ivy is really great because it helps to soothe your throat. It decreases your stimulus for coughing, so that's really good. And then the other thing that it does is it helps to kind of get the mucus pathways. It thins the mucus so you can kind of get it up so you don't feel like you're having trouble with your coughing to try to get that mucus plug up. So all of that's really, fantastic for English ivy, available in pharmacies and health food stores. So I'm telling you, one of the best remedies I've used over the last 20 years to help people from that cough perspective. And then if you're looking at things that have been really proven, so we all hear about echinacea, right? Echinacea. Echinacea is good. It's a good remedy, but probably the one that is, now I wrote a book, that was kind of, green immunity boosters, right? It was a little book that I wrote years ago. And Andrographis, Andrographis, Andrographis. So it's Andrographis, Andrographis. That actually head-to-head with, the drug Tamiflu was more effective at post-flu recovery. So there's some great natural therapies that you can reach for, and you don't stay on them all the time. If I was going to pick something you stay on all the time, it's the zinc and it's vitamin C, and maybe you want to take a little bit of quercetin. There's a product called Moducare, Moducare, that helps keep your immune system fueled so that it's able to function the way it's supposed to. Mm-hmm. That's really solid to be on all the time, like a maintenance, for like a nutrient for your immune health. And I think these days it's probably pretty smart for most people to think about taking something like Moducare.
Then there are supplements that help hold off those bugs and help reduce the severity of them. Dr. Lavelle points to aged garlic extract as a supplement with a great degree of research behind it that is incredibly effective.
Then you want to reach for the bud squashers and the immune support, like echinacea, like golden seal, like andrographis. But you got to remember, don't wait for 3 or 4 days for the bug to totally have hold of you before you start those remedies. Most of us feel something. When you were getting sick, right, you felt it pretty early. You could tell, I'm feeling that feeling when I'm about ready to get a cold or flu. I'm getting a little achy, or I'm starting to feel that fatigue, or, I'm feeling my lungs tighten up a little bit. This is the feeling that I get when I'm starting to catch out to a cold or flu. That's when you want to start taking things.
Right.
The earlier you jump on the symptoms, the better natural therapies will work for you. If you're deep in the heat of the bug, it becomes a much, longer process for that to help you.
Right. Right.
So that I think is really important for people to understand. Another one that actually has data on it, on reducing frequency, severity, and duration of your cold and flu, is aged garlic extract. The trade name to that is Kyolic, Kyolic. Normally thought of as a heart remedy because it reverses vulnerable plaque and it helps lower blood pressure. And I mean 900 publications on this particular compound. This is a very well-studied compound. But you got to get the brand name. Not any garlic works. Not eating garlic does the same. It's the way they process the garlic through the aging process that brings out all these new compounds that come out of the aging process. And it's absolutely shown to increase something called gamma delta T killer cells. And these are white blood cells that attack voraciously that flu bug or that cold bug that you get. And it's got human trials behind it that shows that frequency, duration, and incidence is significantly reduced when you're on that preventatively. Typically you don't stay on what we call immune boosters, like, hey, stay on, echinacea all winter long, because that's stimulating your immune system. And eventually when you stimulate your immune system, it starts to wear down and not respond as well as it should. So those are the things that you really want to think about. For what is the maintenance things that I could be doing heading into cold and flu season. I think aged garlic or Kyolic, Moducare, making sure that you're, maybe taking a probiotic a couple times a week, and then the baselines of zinc and C, all really important to make yourself hardier going into the cold and flu season. Now we're squarely in it, but it's not too late to be honest, because you know what, those flu bug and cold bugs, they hang around till late March anyway.
Dr. Lavelle also recommends getting up and moving around, getting that heart pumping and the blood flowing several times a week. He notes you don't need to do vigorous working out every day, but do try to get some movement in as you can. It can go a long ways. News time is 23 minutes after 8 o'clock on this Thursday. Coverage of news streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. A look at local sports comes your way next. The first high school basketball polls of the season are out, and the Clinton Maroons are getting votes this year. That story in sports next.
Do you know what to do when a car is pulled over on the side of the road?
Get over!
First, reduce your speed. Second, change lanes if possible. Third, proceed with caution. These 3 simple steps can be the difference between life and death.
What if it's you that's on the side of the road? Do you want everybody to move over for you?
Do the right thing. Slow down, move over, and drive like your life and their life depends on it.
Hey, this is Todd Gleason from Illinois Extension here with a time change for our daily market report on WHOW. You can now catch our daily review of the commodity markets at 5:06 on all of WHOW's many platforms. You'll still hear all of our commodity analysts and weather professionals each afternoon, but at a brand new time. And you'll still hear the weekly wrap-up of the commodity markets right here on WHOW when Commodity Week airs Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Remember the time change for the daily closing market report on WHOW at our new time, 5:06 p.m. weekdays.
With SRN Sports, I'm Michael Harrington. We start in the NBA where the Bucks' single-game scoring record is shattered as they beat the Pacers last night.
Giannis Antetokounmpo broke the Bucks' single-game franchise scoring record with 64 points, and the Bucks beat the Pacers 140-126. Antetokounmpo says Coach Adrian Griffin left him in the game when it was a double-digit lead late.
2 points away from the franchise record, and I told him, Coach, I'm good. Because I knew that it was the time for me to get the sub. It's no, you're 2 points away from the franchise record. Get it.
Very physical game all night long, and at the end, the Pacers took the game ball, and that led to an incident by the locker room between the two teams because Antetokounmpo wanted the ball after his record-breaking performance. Chuck Freeman, Milwaukee.
That's where the Jazz beat the Knicks 117-113. It was Brooklyn over Phoenix 116-112. The Rockets beat Memphis. This is SRN Sports. Rounding up the rest of your NBA action from yesterday, Lakers 122, Spurs 119. The Raptors over the Hawks 135-128. Heat beat Charlotte 115-104. It was the Sixers 129, Pistons 111, and the Pelicans beat Washington 142-122. The NFL will play a regular season game in Brazil in 2024. It's the latest expansion in the league's rapidly growing international plan. League officials say the game will be played at Arena Corinthians in Sao Paulo. The stadium has a capacity of about 50,000 and was a World Cup venue back in 2014. In the National Hockey League yesterday, the Jets beat the Kings 5-2, Colorado 5, Buffalo 1. It was the Islanders over Anaheim 4-3. Devils and Pittsburgh also winners last night. AP Top 25 College Basketball, number 8 Creighton upset by UNLV 79-64 yesterday. Number 15 FAU over FIU. This is SRN Sports.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Clinton High School boys basketball is off to another roaring start under second-year Hall of Fame coach Vic Binkley, and the 9-0 Maroons are getting votes in this week's Class 2A state rankings. The Maroons did not crack the top 10, but did receive 14 votes in this week's poll. Taylor Ridge Rockridge is the top team in Class 2A, followed by Bree Central, Peoria Manual, Trenton, Westglen, and Fieldcrest. In the top 5, Tolono Unity, Peoria Notre Dame, Chicago Christ the King, Byron, and St. Joseph Ogden round out the 2A top 10. Tuscola is the number 1 team in Class 2A. Springfield Calvary is number 6 in the first poll of the season, and Lexington received votes in this week's poll. In Class 3A, Chicago Mount Carmel is the top team. Peoria Richwoods is number 4, while Mount Zion checks in at number 7. Morton is number 10. Metamora and Decatur MacArthur receive votes in this week's poll. Normal Community is the number 1 team in Class 4A. Get the latest in sports at DeWittDailyNews.com.
When you protect your corn and soy crops with Miravis Neem fungicide, you'll start seeing a lot more than just cleaner and greener fields. You'll get longer-lasting disease control, better plant health benefits, less plant stress, higher potential yield, and increased ROI potential. Ask your Syngenta retailer about Miravis Neo and start